Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars show, a Star Wars podcast, basically an hour where guys get around a table and talk about Star Wars. I'm your host, David Amilati, and joined with me are two other hosts of our show, Mr. Jesse Buck, Mr. David Gilbert. Jesse, welcome back from the dead, man.
Yeah, skip the Zarlak pit, if you will.
Jesse's been gone for like 2 months because he's battled one illness and then another and then another,
Yes.
but he's immune now to everything.
Probably, hopefully.
It's amazing what medicine can do these days.
Yeah.
My theory is that like your innards right now, like when you turn off the lights and we opened you up, you'd glow in the dark because of all the medication.
Probably, yeah. Like, I actually still have to go back for another visit because they're still not sure what's
Well, stay healthy.
knocking me around.
Yeah, stay healthy. The two things
we're going 2 weeks strong right now.
The two things that can survive a nuclear attack, what are they? Beetles and roaches and Jesse Buck.
Yeah.
Roaches and Jesse Buck. David Gilbert, you have a new 3/4 zip blue. Is that turquoise?
It's turquoise. Makes me look pretty.
It makes your eyes really pop.
Thank you.
Let someone else call you pretty. I feel like when you say it's a little self-serving.
I'm gorgeous, so
You are a
just
handsome.
gonna leave it there.
You are a handsome man.
Uh-huh.
Now, I want to let you know if you're watching or listening, the show's going to be a little out of order today. We want to make a Battlefront 2 heavy episode here. Give you our feedback on some of the gameplay that we've been able to experience, and we've experienced it from Jesse being a tester. This man has played Battlefront 2 more than most. I've played it for like a day and a half,
Pretty much.
and David has little to no experience. He's watched some YouTube videos.
I've been playing Battlefront 2 since like it came out in 2004, so
God
I got
help us.
plenty of experience.
All right, so we're going to talk about that, but then we'll get into the other topics. I want to get nerdy on some of the comic books, and I want to get nerdy about a lot of TV appearances. We're obviously less than 2 weeks away from the theatrical release of Star Wars The Last Jedi, and so between Rey and Finn and Kylo, they've all been making their appearances on our television sit-down show, so we'll take a look at that. But let's jump into that. Pages, Pixels, and Pieces here on Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars podcast. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Be sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to us, guess what? There's a subscribe button there too. You can go ahead and click on it. The first topic of today's show, Battlefront 2. And we're going to go in order here. We have like a list of things that we want to hit. So to give you a little idea, we're going to talk about our experience playing the game. And then we're going to tell you how we all got here, right? So we're going to break down the apology that we got from DICE. We're going to talk about why there was an apology issued. We're going to talk about why players were freaking out when they were playing the early release of the game. And I'm sure Jesse can give us some insight there.
Oh, you know it.
But let's just kind of start with the gameplay. The game's been out for now a little over a couple of weeks. And fans are enjoying that campaign mode that we were, well, first told about a year ago or so. Jesse, what are your thoughts on playing as Iden Versio and this Inferno squad?
Well, I mean, are we going to talk every detail about at this point?
I think we should try and avoid spoiling the storyline.
Okay.
Because like I myself haven't finished the story, but I do know how it ends.
I mean, it's fantastic. Is the best way to sum it up. The voice acting, the overall, the cinematics, the feel of the campaign. I would give it a 10 out of 10. And it's a great tie-in between the time frame that we're looking at is right up when the second Death Star blows up, all the way up to, if you will, to the very beginning of The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that big of a time span?
Yeah, it's
That
30
big
years.
that big of a time span throughout this
We
campaign.
get to grow with Iden
Oh,
Versio and
well,
company.
kind of.
Well, I mean, we'll say there is a little bit of a jump in the time frame in there,
I presume
but
so.
it fits perfectly. But what's presented in this story is really fantastic because it ties in with Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, and even Chuck Wendig's Aftermath trilogy. So there's a lot of lore that's presented.
Again, it's a story that humanizes the Empire, which I
Yes.
am a fan of, and you and I have talked at great lengths on this show about that, whether it's Lone Star, the book, or if it's the trilogy that you just mentioned there. It's a great way of looking at the Empire, and in a way, the Loyalists feeling like victims.
Well, exactly. And we know now that there were scenes that were cut from the Return of the Jedi where you can tell that there was discomfort about actually, firing the Death Star primary, super weapon, on planets and everything. And they cut those scenes out of the movies, and it dehumanized,
Yeah, the scene you're talking about, okay, Jar Jar, right?
Yeah.
Help me out. He's got an odd name, and I'm having a brain fart. But go on YouTube if you haven't seen that scene he's talking about already. The conflict is that he doesn't want to fire the Death Star on the moon of Endor because they've got a legion of their best troops on the planet.
I mean, this is close proximity of Imperial troops and everything. Like, there's a lot of just conflict there.
Right. And Dave, I want to ask you because you're very busy professionally. You have your other obligations. You haven't gotten the game yet. You plan to this week.
I still plan to. Like, could I have probably grabbed it a couple weeks ago for Thanksgiving? Absolutely. But part of me is still at this point where I don't like some of the game mechanics that they're throwing in there. The pay-to-play, the loot boxes, which they've now backed off on some of that.
Oh, I got a whole lot to tell you about that.
I mean, so part of me is like, to hell with EA, screw them, let's not support this. But then if it wasn't for this campaign mode, which I want the campaign mode, that is the reason why I will spend the $60 to purchase this game.
Well, and the thing about it too is, not only is it just a campaign mode, it's the same deal with Battlefront 2, right? The campaign is canon. It's a canon story, and I think from what I've played, and from what I've just gone ahead and watched on YouTube because I want to know how it ends, I think it's a stellar story. And I think that's why it miffs a lot of fans about the pay-to-play component. I think now is the time where we can jump into that. Basically what happened was, Jesse, give us a little background on the fact that players who pre-ordered got early access to the game, and they uncovered that there were some pay-to-play components to the game. And it was predominantly like the ability to play heroes.
Well, it's a lot more into that, actually, the pay-to-win aspect. So basically, the original model set up, and this kind of ambushed actually a lot of people. I didn't even notice this, just even from what little alpha testing I did. Maybe some of the more prominent YouTubers, Jack Frags or something like that, maybe had a little bit more of a heads up. So the issue here is that the way EA set this up in the game was that you've got you actually have 3 in-game currencies. Okay. You have crafting parts, which are needed to upgrade the various trait cards and ability cards. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have actual credits that you accumulate just from general gameplay in the game, which was the same as Battlefront 2015. We had credits that you accumulated
purchase new guns,
to purchase new guns, cards, and player skins. Okay, and then. The third currency is crystals. Now, some of these crystals you can actually accumulate via endgame, doing the challenges, the achievements, and everything, if you will. The issue is that you could buy these crystals. Okay, so you could pay $100 and say, just hypothetically get like 15,000 crystals. Okay, and what people were doing, with a credit card, they would buy these crystal packages, and you have different loot crates in the game, daily crates. So you get a free daily crate every day, okay? But there's a trooper crate, a starfighter crate, and then what's called a hero crate. And these all had different price ranges, and depending on which one you choose, so if you chose the trooper crate, all the cards that you would get out of that were strictly related to the standard classes. The issue was that you could get weapon attachments, you could get some of the stronger weapons without actually, basically bypassing the challenges or the requirements built in for like the free-to-play player.
Can I just say that, like, just hearing you explain all this, it kind of shows just how complex this game structure is. I'm sure while you're playing it, it doesn't seem as overwhelming. But my really goodness, is there a lot going on here?
There really is. And the main issue is that some of these, and or if you were clicking the hero crate, and so you'd get these hero, like the hero abilities, okay, and you had the capacity to get these rare cards and everything. At first, they dumbed it down that you couldn't get the epic versions of them, and the max was, rarity was, blue and everything. So the issue here was that you were getting people with these really strong trait cards, these strong weapons, and the game had not even officially launched yet. We're still talking Origin Access, where you had 10 hours of gameplay before the actual early access, which started on the 15th if you pre-ordered. So you've got these people that are basically decked out in gear kind of thing, and if they're a skilled player, okay, they're going to have a distinct advantage over and maybe not in such a I don't know, serious FPS
Right.
play or
And
something.
there were a few accounts. There were a few accounts of that happening when the general public got to start playing the game. I don't think in our circle I wasn't seeing a whole lot. But I know you have exposure to a far larger circle.
Yeah,
with
I didn't
testers.
really. I personally, because I not to toot my own horn, I see
Not toot
myself
it.
as a skilled video gamer,
Yeah.
Especially on FPS games. So it really didn't impact me all that much running into these people. It was like, you know what, I'm going to beat them because I'm a better player as a
Right.
whole.
Right. And the thing about it too is though, whether our experience was enjoyable despite those disadvantages, there was definitely the outcry from hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
other players that they wanted changes to happen.
To date, I'm not a Reddit guy, but there was a comment that EA made on Reddit that was
I'm a Reddit. Most
it's
downvoted
most
comment in
most
Reddit history.
downvoted comment in Reddit history. And the thing is that the attention that this brought got the attention of government agencies, like in Belgium, began investigating the concept that this was a form of gambling because you're not guaranteed, like, you don't open a crate and you're not getting, it's randomized.
Well, there were people getting death threats over the fact that there was this function within the game.
So
Yeah, the
th-
development.
this,
Right.
So then it got to the point to where basically this is a lot of bad PR for a game that hasn't even been out officially. It hadn't even launched yet.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we got an apology back on November 16th, and I'm going to put it up on the screen if you're watching with this right now. And it's from Oscar Gabrielson, who's the general manager at DICE. And remember, this is a three-way partnership doing this game. It's EA, it's DICE, and then it's BioWare.
Basically, who's in charge of the Star Wars franchise right now? EA is the overlord with
Right.
the sub groups DICE and BioWare.
Okay, right. So then we got this statement, and it reads, quote, "As we approach the worldwide launch," and again, this came out to us on November 16th of this year. "As we approach the worldwide launch, it's clear that many of you feel that there are still challenges in the design. We've heard the concerns about potentially giving players an unfair advantages, and we've heard that this is overshadowing an otherwise great game. This was never our intention. Sorry we didn't get this right. We hear you loud and clear. So we're turning off all in-game purchases. We will now spend more time listening, adjusting, balancing, and tuning. This means that the option to purchase crystals in the game is now offline, and all progression will be earned through gameplay. The ability to purchase crystals in-game will become available at a later date, only after we've made changes to the game. We'll share more details as we work through this." Again, that's Oscar Gabrielson, the general manager at DICE.
I'm thankful for DICE, but this needs to come from EA because EA has a habit of doing bullshit things to their customers.
Well, this is the thing here is that I'm in agreement with you. I really feel bad for these basically, DICE and BioWare because they basically, you look at it from like EA is the manager.
Right, like you said just a second ago, the
DICE,
overlords.
And DICE and BioWare are the employees, and if EA goes, put this in the game, they got to do it. I'm a big Battlefield fan as well. Okay, Battlefield, 1 offered these, and it's been around for a while, but these battle packs, but they were strictly just customization. They didn't give you new weapons or any. Well, I mean, they gave you like melee weapons, but nothing that would actually break the game.
Okay.
So yeah, when this happened, it was just like, okay, you're actually offering actual basically power ups to the game, and it was doomed to get a lot of heated feedback from it.
David, you had something?
I'm not opposed to microtransactions. That's not what I want to make the argument about. I play Pokemon Go. I'm an avid Pokemon trainer. In my third grade, me would be very proud of myself. And I've purchased incubators. I've purchased raid passes. But the game is free for me to play. This is not a free game that you then have microtransactions in. For a lot of people, they're going out and buying a PlayStation 4 for $400. Then they're going out and buying the game for an extra $60 unless I get it as part of a dual package. So people, there are people like me who might have to go out, now I'm probably going to get PC, but some people have already dropped $460 to play this one game. because it's Star Wars.
Well, that would be me, because you and I have had this conversation before. I think I've shared this on the show. I've debated getting the dual pack, getting the system, getting the game, or just going and getting a used PS4 so that I can play the game, and that turns me off. Now, obviously, through the friendships that we've formed here through this show, I've learned that PC Master Race is a real thing, and that I'm going to play Battlefront 2 on the PC. But you're absolutely right. You go ahead. You had something more.
So if they want to give me more content for extra money, go for it. But I look back at the games that I thought were solid, and I'm going to throw back Roller Coaster Tycoon. When they set out an expansion, they charged me a boat ton of money, but they gave me an entire another game, not one little card that I can go do. Not a chance for a card.
I can roll with you. And you've really done poorly. And I could be a lot more vulgar about what I'm about to say, but I'm trying to keep this somewhat family appropriate. When Bob Iger comes out and says, "You've messed up, you need to fix this," you've made a mistake.
The fact that Bob Iger had to get involved in this at all is terrible.
Well, again, this is because of the cross-canonization that we talked about before. This is a canon story. This is going to impact the storytelling's ability to convey that galactic story. So they've got to get people to buy it.
EA is under a lot of heat right now because Disney acquired the Star Wars franchise, and then we're like, okay, EA is the biggest game developer company, so we're going to give them the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games, okay, and they can dish it out to whatever studio they want, and recently they closed down Visceral Games, who was in charge of the upcoming action-adventure Star Wars game that was in development, and they're saying it's not canceled, but they closed the shop. They're going to move the game elsewhere. And the reasoning for it is they don't believe that story-driven games are making money.
Well, that's all the Star Wars fans want.
Okay, well, that's the thing is, as a Star Wars fan, that's exactly what we want.
That's especially what Disney Storytelling Group wants, because all they want to do is tell more stories
and
to buy.
Let me tell you, the story presented in this game is AAA. Okay, I've enjoyed it. The voice acting, just every ounce of credit to Janina and every other voice actor that worked on this game, because they put their time and their dedication, their spirit into those characters.
Well, we also know that with the motion capture, they're not just voice actors; they are full-fledged actors.
They are the characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we made that distinction. It's not. I don't want to say it's just voice acting, but these actors, it is basically a cinematic. It's a movie that we get to play in.
For me, on that perspective, for EA to come out and say things like that all around the time of this, it's very frustrating as a fan, because that's what we want. We want to see more into the lore, more mechanical story.
And we know that Disney's very, very protective over the content they're releasing, especially when they've replaced 3 directors on 2 different movies in the last 8 months.
I recently, heard that part of their contract is they need to treat this franchise with respect and short. They didn't do it twice. In a month's time, they've basically crapped on this franchise.
Could EA stand to lose this contract?
They could lose this contract.
Didn't their shares drop like 17%?
No, they lost $3 billion.
Billion?
$3 billion worth of shares in this last month over this.
So is that $3 billion equivalent to the percentage that he was talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. The fact is, $3 billion is a lot of money.
So they really, a lot of bad PR for them as a whole, as a game developer.
Which they didn't have the strongest reputation anyway, outside of just being the biggest.
So I would like to see Disney pull their rights away. I would rather see this in terms of the gaming franchise of Star Wars be given to a more serious game studio. Blizzard, for example, they're known for Warcraft. I used to be an avid Warcraft player. Yes, their games have issues, but you know what? I haven't seen Blizzard make a huge PR fuck up like I have seen in any time, and that's our one F word for the thing, because this
but
is a mess.
Even when Blizzard would screw up, they would still give you free gameplay to make up for it.
I will say this, and we're going to wrap up this part of the conversation. Great conversation from the both of you. I love how we can bring in so many elements just from the gameplay, not just from fan reaction, not just the verbiage that we've gotten from the companies, but talking about dollars lost. I just think it was a really a very great conversation that highlights all the elements of this game. I want to encourage you to go out and get this game. I think we want to still encourage you to get this game because, one, it's a canon story. Two, it's great. Why ultimately do we get a Battlefront game? Yeah, it's fun to be a Jedi and wave a lightsaber around, but ultimately we play these games because we want to be in the trenches. We want to be the stormtroopers. We want to be the rebel soldiers. Yeah. I want to explore Crate. I want to explore Star Killer base. I want to explore these maps, and, see aspects of them that we didn't get to see in the movies, and you get that with this game.
Well, and again, with the storyline, there's a new planet that's introduced, via the storyline. There is a lot of great reasons to get this game, and whether you're anti-EA, okay, think of it like this: you're at the very least you're supporting the employees of DICE. Okay.
Yeah.
They're the ones that really, it probably wasn't their decision to put them, this grade of microtransactions into the game.
Maybe not. I think we can all agree this is significantly better than the 2015 game.
Yes, without a doubt, I think this is a better game model as far as gameplay and the mechanics that are in there. It needs adjustments. Every game needs adjustments. So overall, get it for the story, okay? Because you're supporting those voice actors. Get it because of the people that actually cared about the game at DICE. Mm-hmm. And as you said, get in the trenches, get in the streets of Theed, get on Hoth, battle it out with your friends, make new friends. There's a lot of great elements. Every era, prequel, original, new.
And we'll be able to play along with you when you get your copy of Battlefront 2. Just shortly before this episode, Jesse hooked up the podcast computer so that we can start streaming out gameplay. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So join us. I think the talk is after the new year, we're all going to be playing in the same game, and we might actually do an episode that way where we're just playing the video game and we'll bring up generic topics. That'll be pretty fun to discuss Star Wars and at the same time trying to take down the Galactic Empire. That would be interesting. Like I said, great conversation. Let's jump on to the next two topics real quick. Get out of this segment really fast, but I want to make sure we gave the right amount of time to Battlefront 2 that we could. Three things remaining in Pages, Pixels, and Pieces. The first is we're going to get a Padme Young adult novel. This comes from our friends over at MakingStarWars.net. There will be a Padme Amidala young adult novel coming our way. And basic reaction to this, I'm seeing a lot of fans curious. It's a character that we could have done a lot more with, I think, in the prequel trilogy. Now, everyone has their own beliefs of why that was. A lot of sources seem to point at actors and actress' ego off camera during 2 and 3. David, you hear that there's a Padme novel in the works and it's on the way. What do you think, my friend?
My initial reaction is I don't care.
Wow. What?
I don't.
She's a 14-year-old princess who's willing to die for her people.
We don't know that's when this book's going to take place. It could be when she's a queen. It could be during the Clone War era. We don't know yet. But ultimately, the only thing that piques my curiosity is that I think she was, and this is not a knock on Natalie Portman. Okay. She's a very talented actress, but the writing for her character was so awful that I really don't care about her character.
Characters really seem to have more growth without George Lucas writing them.
This would be one of those things where I would read if I had nothing better to do and it was sitting on the shelf somewhere, and I thought, okay, maybe let's see if there's more to Padme that will actually get me to care about her. But I'm still not through the 40 short stories yet, so.
I want to know about the 40 short stories, that's specifically just A New Hope era. Mm-hmm. But with Padme, I would be kind of curious. I want this to take place as she's gaining notoriety, because how bad did the last person F up to where the community and then the planet has to vote a 14-year-old girl to helm the local government? You know what I'm saying? It's like the last person really must have sucked at their job leading the people.
See, I'd rather see them do it during the Clone Wars while she's a senator to see what kind of backstabbing politics are going on that we don't get to see in the movies.
I'm a little torn on this topic.
Okay.
The thing is I feel like we've already seen Padme in the Clone Wars via the Clone Wars cartoon. So we already kind of know what kind of politics were going on during that.
I agree with that.
So we really wouldn't be presenting anything new. So for me, the only general time frame that would be appropriate would be events leading up to the Phantom Menace, directly in front of the Phantom Menace.
I think that'd be really fun.
You're right. What got her voted as Queen of Naboo? How did she get into that position and everything?
And I bet you we get a little Palpatine interspersed in that story, because Palpatine was involved very early on.
To me, that's really the only way that this would work. Otherwise, I'm not as interested with it because I kind of feel like her character, a lot of her story arc is complete just simply from the movies and the Clone Wars cartoon. I mean, this is really the only that time frame. It's really the only.
I think the least
amount of story.
That's fair. I think the least about that story that we know is the era that we're talking, which is around that Phantom Menace era. And I'm with you. I want to kind of learn about what was the climate that allowed her to get into power. I think it's going to have a very Claudia Gray Bloodlines feel. In Bloodlines, what do? We get General Leia trying to help reshape the New Republic about 5 years out of Force Awakens. And you get some great storytelling there, and you get to learn a little bit more about the backstabbing. And I think Bloodlines is a little bit more successful because people really wanted a little bit more politics in the Force Awakens, just to have a better understanding of what's going on. Prequels were oversaturated with the politics, so it'll be interesting to see what this novel happens. But if you like the idea of a young Padme novel, tell us why or why not down in the comments below, and we'll be sure to see your comments and answer them on next week's episode. A couple comics to talk about. Last week we had Mace Windu 4 drop. This coming week we're going to get Darth Vader number 9 to drop. Mace Windu 4, have either one of you two had the chance to read them? And it's no problem if you didn't.
I've read number 4. I haven't read. I read 1 and 4. I didn't read 2 and 3.
So,
how much are you going to hate me if I tell you that I don't like his character?
No, well, like in general, or you just don't like the comic?
In general.
Okay, well that's
just in general, and maybe that's causing me to be biased. But like for me, Mace, I finished with Mace Windu when he flew out the window, kind of thing, and it's a little frustrating. I mean, if this is all stuff that's before that, I'm okay with it. But
well, it is. Like it's shortly right after the beginning of the Clone Wars, which is outlined in that first issue. And I've said it from the beginning, I like the story. I think the artwork is really distracting. It's different from the conventional art styles that I don't want to call them conventional. It's not as good looking art as we're used to seeing in like the main Star Wars line, the Poe Dameron, especially the Vader run we're on right now. This number 4 is like a.
We really get to see the angry side of Mace Windu in this one.
We do, and I think that's why Mace Windu is such a great character, is because he's a little bit of a hypocrite. One, I like him because he was the one guy in Phantom Menace going, I don't want to train this kid, it could backfire on us. 2, he is someone who embraces the dark side, and I think this is something that we're going to get similar in The Last Jedi with Luke. I think we're going to get a Luke that's dabbled with the dark side. Well, Mace Windu is someone who gave into his anger and fear to help him in saber combat. And the issue is really interesting. It's a flashback of the 4 issues so far. This one is my favorite. We're outside of the Jedi chambers. Mace is having a saber duel with another Jedi. In this issue, they're having a conflict, differences of opinion on the role the Jedi should be playing in this new Clone Wars. And I think you would really like it, since you and I are both Clone Wars junkies. I think you would really benefit from reading this issue. I think you'd have a lot of fun with it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm a firm believer in not spoiling these issues. I'm going to ask you, if you haven't gotten it already, Mace Windu number 4 hit bookshelves last week. Give it a look. A book that I know that we're all going to be reading, though, on this show a couple of times. Darth Vader number 9. I mean, I cannot rave.
I'm a little behind, actually.
Well, I'll give you. You can read my trades after this. I can't get over just how great this series is, and I say it every week we bring it up. It's 9 issues in, and it beats the Gillen run, and the Gillen run was
phenomenal.
Awesome.
I'll tell you how much I love this one, David. I went out over Thanksgiving. You and I went comic book shopping, hit 4 different comic book shops in one day. It was great. And I bought the back issues of it because I want them in single copy, not just in trade. That being said, I'm missing number 3. So if anybody has number 3, let me know.
If you have Darth Vader number 3 of the 2017 run, comment down below, and we'll give you our PayPal link. But yeah, so 9 is coming out this week, and all we know so far is the fact that Vader has found Jocasta Nu. That's how I'm going to set it up. Up to this point, that we know that Jocasta Nu has come back to Coruscant, has infiltrated the Jedi Temple. The last scene, the last panel we see her in number 8 is her on the table with her blue saber ignited in the face of the Grand Inquisitor, who is just casually throwing books in the Jedi library because he finally has access to all this knowledge. Looking forward to it. What are we most anticipating, though, in this number 9? Are you expecting to see Vader just come in and in 21 pages kill her? Or is this a thing where it's going to be a couple more issues?
I want this to be a couple more issues. I want to see how badass Jocasta Nu can really be, because really all we know is that she's a librarian for the Jedi Order. I want to see her do something pretty kick-ass and not just die.
No, I think that's fair. Jesse, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to actually see the extent of how strong of a Jedi she was, because, I mean, she just kind of got manhandled in an episode of the Clone Wars where they steal the holocron.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was kind of like, come on, you can't tell the difference here, you know?
It's almost like a completely different character, and I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, I think back to remember the original PS2 Revenge of the Sith game?
Yeah.
That's how, like, part of that campaign is you kill her as Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. And then I like how we're kind of reimagining how she's going to go out. She's going to go out in a way more grand way, and I like that. You know, from this story we have from Charles Soule, you know, we're learning that she's actually been hiding, recreating the holocrons, trying to like salvage Jedi history and traditions. And so the fact that she's trying to sneak back in, the one last thing that she needs is this piece of data that has the name of every Force-sensitive child. And we learned that back in issue number 8. And again, if you haven't read it already, I want you to go and find issue number 8. Find all the issues like David. I had so much fun. Like you mentioned, we comic book hunted for 4 different shops in St. Louis, and we were able to find them all but number 3. So good stuff there, and I'm sure that we'll be sharing that issue when it comes out on Wednesday. So that's going to do it for Pages, Pixels, and Pieces for this week's episode. Who knew? I mean, maybe we need to have that segment first. More episodes in the future. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually liked it.
I liked it. Real Talk is next, and my gosh, there were a lot of TV appearances, but I want to bring up this first. Daisy Ridley could be done with the character of Rey after episode 9. A Rolling Stone article came out discussing that Leia's story not impacted by the telling of The Last Jedi, more on what Luke's mindset might be. But to me, the standout thing here is the fact that Daisy's saying, listen, I signed on for 3 films. When that contract is up after episode 9, I'm done looking to the next thing. Dave, let's start with you on this one. When you hear that, are you a little surprised?
Not particularly. I mean, you look at her, she's been doing some other movies too. She was in Murder on the Orient Express and did a phenomenal job there. And you can't blame her from not wanting to get typecast as Rey. Now, that doesn't mean that in 15 years, if they do another trilogy and they want her to come back, she might decide, okay, I'll do it. But she needs a little diversity in her career, too.
I'm glad you brought that up. And definitely Star Wars is a great franchise to get into to kind of jumpstart your career. I'm assuming that's going to happen with Kelly Marie Tran, who's new to this Last Jedi cast. But Jesse, just a couple of weeks ago, Kathleen Kennedy came out and talked about how there's more trilogies, there's more stories in development. She mentioned about Poe, Rey, and Finn. So it's, I think, surprising to a lot of the fans who are really invested, who heard that story, because we're all kind of expecting to see a lot of Rey in the near future.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, is Daisy, you know, when she signed on for this, it was, okay, this is your job for the next how many years?
Yeah, 6, 7, 8.
You know, like, if you got time to do another movie in there, fine, but, I mean, if we call you up and say, hey, we're starting shooting for this you got to be there.
Right.
That's your legal contract kind of thing. So I think this is really where that kind of comes down to, is basically she'll be, like, available, more available for other, franchises and films at that point. I don't think she would completely write it off. Once you're in Star Wars, unless they actually kill your character on screen, I mean...
If Harrison Ford can come back after so long, I don't see why Daisy couldn't.
That's my point, right. Is like, I mean, we would now know the story behind Carrie and Harrison and Mark coming back, and we know that Mark was the last one on board because he didn't want to be the stick in the mud and whatnot, but that's the thing, is, I mean, Harrison Ford was seen to be the biggest wall, and to seeing that cast, that reunion on screen, and he said yes. Now, obviously, we don't know the exact terms of that yes, but he came back for at least one movie.
I think we know it was a bunch of green little dollar bills.
It was money. It was money for sure.
But the fact is that the character died. And Harrison one time expressed that he felt that Han should have died in the original trilogy.
Right.
So, for him, maybe that was the deal, is you give me some money and you kill my character,
right,
I'll do this movie.
Let's bring it back to Daisy Ridley, though. And I'm thinking that... Daisy's not going to be involved in that Rian Johnson trilogy based on her statements. And I think what was mentioned before, which is the most likely to happen in the future, we'll see in 20 years. There's going to be the trilogy is. I think what Disney wants to do and the storytelling group wants to do is they want to do this Rian Johnson trilogy. They want to do a lot of these standalones. I think we're not going to see 10, 11, and 12 for probably another 20 years or so.
Speaking of Rian Johnson's new work, if you need, I don't know, just a background Mandalorian, give me a holler.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for throwing that in there.
Plug.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go and jump now to TV talk, and what that is it's not a different segment. This is just there's been a lot of TV appearances. I'm actually gonna have Jesse scoot over a little bit more, so that way we can get just so close and together and so. I want to be in an embrace while we talk about this because I'm really excited about it.
John Boyega's dead to me.
Son of a. You know what? The next time you want to jump ahead in the show, I'm gonna take off that quarter zip and wrap it around your head.
This is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the appearances on TV, and John Boyega is dead to me now.
Well, okay. So here, how do we want to do this? Do we want to first start with their appearance on Jimmy Kimmel this past Friday, or do we want to go with the individual performances and then end with the cast?
Whatever you guys want.
Let's end with the cast. Let's go.
Okay, I think we can hammer out these solo appearances. Just so you know what I'm talking about, we had John Boyega on The Tonight Show. We had Daisy Ridley on Kelly and Ryan. You had Mark Hamill on Good Morning America. Mark Hamill on Good Morning America didn't share a whole lot of new information. No. It was the same stuff.
He's been very tight-lipped,
which is surprising. He'll tease the fans, but it's the same thing. I was kind of reluctant about this script. I didn't really agree with everything that Rian Johnson wanted to do. It's a story that you haven't seen before. He places a lot of extra emphasis on on that line that we hear Luke say in the trailer. This is not going to end the way you think. I'm very curious to know what that line means, but I've been very curious since we first heard that in the trailer. I didn't need
every trailer and every TV spot
in about
every interview.
Well, they're driving a point home. So I guess with Mark's Good Morning appearance being fun, but not really most groundbreaking, John Boyega on The Tonight Show, man. What did you think about that, Dave?
On Tonight Show or on Good Morning America?
He was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy.
Oh, with Jimmy Kimmel.
I thought that's what you were talking about, how he was dead to you. Or are you talking about his appearance with Jimmy Kimmel?
No. His appearance with Kimmel was pretty fun. He was on Good Morning America too. Did you not see that one?
They were on like everything.
Okay,
so I just picked the prominent ones.
So he talks on Good Morning America about how he doesn't like these cute, adorable little porgs. For those listening, I found my porg finally. And no, don't eat my porg, Jesse.
I was gonna say I got a George Foreman right behind me.
And
we can skewer it.
They're adorable. But he doesn't like the porgs.
Okay.
And so he's dead to me because he doesn't like porgs. Now he has a good reason for it. He said he was wandering around the set of the Millennium Falcon and saw like a whole bunch of them just stacked in the corner with their little black eyes.
The porg is not going to be that big of a deal in the movie. You know
I don't care. It's
not even an Ewok.
Don't hold him upright. You're going to scare him.
Unbelievable.
Throw the porg at me.
Porg abuse here on Beyond the Blast Doors, episode 22. Thanks for watching, though, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Let's go and since we kind of talked about Daisy already, and the fact that she can't talk about her lineage, and the fact that she can't really discuss if she's going to the dark side or not, which kind of covers her appearance on Kelly and Ryan, let's just go ahead and talk about that full cast special we got with Jimmy Kimmel on Friday night. You had everybody. You had Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, Rian Johnson, the director, Mark Hamill, John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran, who plays Rose, Laura Dern, who plays Vice Admiral. Oh my gosh! I knew I was going to do this.
I just brain farted on it too.
We'll have to do a little
Let's call her
search.
Vice Admiral.
Vice Admiral.
Screw up most of the names. So.
Andy Serkis and Oscar Isaac, and well, I guess when I watched this, I like how they brought him out. It started with Driver, Ridley, Hamill, and Johnson. It just might be the most talented cast. Not just those four. I mean, when you have everybody out there, it might be the most talented cast we've seen of a movie or a trilogy in the last decade, because you have experience, you have legacy, you also have newcomers. And what I love about Daisy, what I love about Finn, what I love about what I love about John and Adam Driver is that these are faces that I will always associate with their character, just like with the original cast. You know, Hamill was a nobody. Fisher was practically a nobody. Leia and Luke made them world-renowned, world-famous, and I have that same effect with these guys. What was your favorite part, Jesse, that Friday night interview? What's the favorite moment you got from Kimmel's show?
Gosh, now I'm can't think of her name. Vice Admiral.
Right.
The actress
Laura
is-
Dern.
Thank you.
I'm looking it up now.
They were talking to her, and she was kind of reminiscing about standing in line for the first for A New Hope when she was a kid and everything, and like the excitement of actually seeing Chewbacca on set. And,
Vice Admiral Holdo.
and then she's like, and that's Luke, like I kind of feel like I kind of connected with that. I was just like, yeah, I think I'd be excited to
It's one more story where we're hearing an actor having like this connection to their childhood.
Yeah.
They grew up a fan of the movie, and that's the thing about the movies that we're getting to now is we're having movies created by people who grew up watching the originals.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, compared to the other, talk shows and everything, I think Kimmel did probably the best out of them.
How do you interview 9 people at one time? I mean, I interview people for a living. That's tough.
It's just, I mean, there was an element of, there was humor to it. There were some serious questions concerning Daisy's parentage in the in the movie. Like, and that cracked me up because that's been like the kind of like a internet thing now. It's
right.
Like, can you tell us spoilers, Daisy, kind of thing, and so they're always hitting her with like these stupid questions.
I really don't. I know we're not really on that topic. I really don't think her parentage is really going to make a difference. I liked the banter that he had with Andy Serkis. I don't think. Is there anyone who's been more involved with more successful franchises than Andy Serkis?
That doesn't have an Academy Award.
Ridiculous. The guy needs to get one. I don't know if I don't think Snoke, because visually Snoke is. I don't think Snoke's gonna be the character. But my God,
we might see with this new movie. I think we're obviously gonna see him up close this time, not some holographic giant. So
here's hoping. Are you still stewing about the porg thing?
No, I think.
When the hell did you put the porg up on the monitor?
A while ago. After you threw him at me, you inconsiderate prick.
I kind of like him there. Does he have a name?
No, not yet.
Is his name?
I'm gonna call him Georgie.
I don't want to name something I might potentially have to eat to save my life.
Paul the Porg.
Paul the Porg. Yeah.
Ralph the Porg.
Did you notice in Kimmel's set that he had the skyline? He had like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
that was
up
so
above
cool.
him.
It was awesome.
I love the little banter. What I love about all of these appearances that they're doing is that they can't talk about the movie. So we're getting little snippets about the fun they had behind the set, their personal stories about their relationships with each other on this.
I have to laugh anytime like Kathleen Kennedy is like on one of these interviews, or like Ryan Johnson. They're like, Ryan, can I? Okay, he's staring daggers at me, like, like.
And we now know the first word of The Last Jedi is we're.
We're?
We are.
We are.
WE''RE. We're. So that's the one spoiler you're going to have on today's show. I don't think it's going to change your movie-going experience. Let's jump to the last topic real quick, and then we're going to get to Stash or Blast It. Keep the show under an hour because we try and do that to keep it considerate for you and your schedule. Porg down. Porg is just falling on set. All right. We now see that Kylo has some upgrades to his Saber Hilt. Topps has released some new trading cards, and we see a more refined Saber Hilt. And you can find this anywhere. You can find it on Google. I'm citing Topps cards because that's kind of the story. I want to give a shout out to StarWarsNewsNet.com, our good friends over there, for finding this story. And kind of, we talk about them all the time. They're a great aggregator of content. What are you laughing about over there?
So when I was looking at these, when he sent me the link the other day,
Yeah.
I was kind of scrolling down through them. It's just a big list of all the cards, and for some reason, like when I scrolled down and had to reposition my finger, it was a picture of what's BB-8's evil counterpart, like BB-9, and it just the top of it. So I'm looking at this card that looks like it's just a Roomba. And I had a double take on that. Like, what the hell is that? Do we have an evil Roomba now?
You know what? Do me a favor. Look up what is the name of that evil droid, because I'm spacing. I know he's a hashtag on Twitter.
I think it's BB-9.
The only reason why I bring this up, Jesse, is the fact that I don't know if it's repairs to the Saber Hilt. Maybe upgrades is a better term to use. Maybe this is part of the training that he needed to work on. Snoke says he needs to finish his training at the end of The Force Awakens. Do you think the Saber upgrades are maybe part of that?
No.
Okay.
I just think it was just out of necessity.
Okay.
Because at the end of The Force Awakens, I mean, Rey basically she basically breaks his lightsaber, so he's got to fix it. He's got to rebuild it. So it's just one of those things where it's necessary, or maybe he wasn't content with it.
I like the chrome. I'm a lightsaber nerd. You're a cosplayer. I mean, I think we can all appreciate the fact that it's a cooler looking hilt now.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I think it looks great and everything, but I just think it was probably just done just to kind of continuity a little bit. You know,
like moving a scar around.
Yeah. Well,
If JJ moves a scar back for a 9, like it's not the biggest deal. It's bullshit though.
I mean, if they explain it.
How a scar shifts on someone's face.
Well, then back to tanks work miracles, dude.
You know what that is? Ego. Let's go ahead and jump into Stash or Blast It. We're moving right along here on episode 22. Thank you so much for joining us. And
David, it was BB9E to answer your last question.
BB9E. I know if you do the hashtag BB9E, the little icon will show up when you tweet out.
Looks like a Roomba on a medicine ball.
We learned now that Daisy Ridley did not like her Force, her performance in The Force Awakens. First topic of Stash or Blast It. She was talking to LEUK, magazine type thing over there in the UK, and in the interview for this December, she's the cover story, and she says that she wasn't a fan of her Force Awakens performance. And so this is Stash It or Blast It. So, David, do you Stash It or Blast It? Daisy's thoughts on her TFA performance.
Blast it. You did fine, girl.
Okay, Jesse, blast or stash it?
I'd say overall blast it, yeah. I mean, there was a few times, like where you go, that could have been done a little bit better, but overall, her performance was great.
It's not a surprise either, because one of my favorite interviews that they did with her before The Force Awakens was she was telling one of the late night hosts that Abrams came up to her and told her that her acting sucked, and she started to cry on set. And Abrams reinforced her, hey, do you think that Lucas went up to Hayden Christensen and said, dude, your acting's wooden? Obviously he didn't, so I'm telling you this, Daisy, to get better. So, I mean, I'm okay if an actress gets better over the course of their career. That's kind of the expectation. They learn and grow.
I can roll with that, and especially the sense that the only time where I have, because when you watch to nitpick someone's performance, the only time it happens is when they're still on Jakku, and you can tell that she's cracking up because John Boyega is kind of funny. But honestly, I thought she crushed it, so I'm gonna blast that as well. The second one we have here, and we could have kept it. We could have put this in Pages, Pixels, Pieces. I just felt like that segment was kind of long, so we bumped it down. But the Thrawn Alliance's novel is announced a while ago. We now have a cover for the book, and we have it up on screen. If you follow us on social media, we have it there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's great. You have Admiral Thrawn looking straight at you, and behind him you have Darth Vader looming behind with, his doom and gloom. It's pretty great. We know because of the release that we got, thanks to StarWars.com, is the fact that these two are teaming up. They're going on a mission together, and I think that's so exciting. Spoiler, in case you have not read the first Thrawn book, and that is the Thrawn book that came out recently by Timothy Zahn. This is the canon novel, not part of the trilogy he wrote back in the 80s. But we now know that Thrawn knows who Anakin Skywalker is. More importantly, he knows that Vader is Anakin Skywalker. And so I'm interested in seeing how that dynamic plays out in the second book, because Thrawn knows what's up.
See, I still haven't read Thrawn. Okay.
I hope I didn't. Sorry.
No, but it's fine. But it's just I think it's coming. I'm right there on the brim, catching up with what I'm already reading.
Thrawn, the first 4 chapters of Thrawn is one of my 3 favorite starts to any Star Wars novel since Disney's taken over. Wow. It's really just incredible. It's really tremendous. And it's exciting now knowing that Johnson is coming out, or not Johnson, I'm sorry, Dave Filoni has come out and said that Thrawn will survive Star Wars Rebels. That makes me really excited, even more so for this novel.
It could be just a simple tip of the hat to Zahn's previous books.
I would have no problem. If they brought those back in, or if they somehow told that era over again. I'd have no problem with that. I would love for them, honestly, if they would bring Zahn's trilogy back into canon and bring in James Luceno's Darth Plagueis novel, I'd be a happy camper. David, have you seen the cover?
I have seen the cover.
Blast it or stash it?
I'm going to stash it, because I know nothing about Thrawn yet. I haven't gotten up to date on Rebels.
You're getting there.
I'm getting closer. But I don't know, just Vader in the background just makes me a little excited, especially with all my excitement for this Darth Vader comic out there. I'm just on a really big Darth Vader train right now.
I wonder I'm curious, Jesse, about the dynamic, because it's that Tarkin kind of could keep Vader in his place. You think about where he's choking out the one general there, beginning of New Hope. Vader, release him. He's the only guy that could really talk to Vader that way, other than the Emperor. I wonder what that chemistry with Thrawn will be. Do you blast it or stash this cover?
I'm gonna stash it for sure.
God, it looks beautiful. Honestly, it looks like
really
something you
does.
went up. It looks like something we'd like on the wall. That'd be kind of cool. That actually brings up something that I kind of want to bring up. Meant to bring this. You know what? I'll say this for Staying on Target. It's a great surprise. I just need you to say Star Wars comics, and then it'll remind me about my Staying on Target.
Star Wars comics.
Yeah, we'll say it when we get there, bud. That would help me out. Okay, so that's Sasher Blast. Let's jump into the Fan Comlink. Seen a couple of these questions before. Got a couple new ones. So I thought I would just give us a chance to answer these questions together since Jesse's back. I think this will be a lot of fun. So first is from a good friend and fan of the show, Insane Soul, Mr. Brennan.
Hey, buddy.
He asks us, who do you want to see survive Rebel Season 4? You can only pick one character. Let's start with Jesse on this. Since, Jesse, I know you're up to date on the series. You get one character from Star Wars Rebels to survive. Who do you want to see live the series?
Well, considering that we know that Thrawn apparently survives.
Right.
We know that Chopper survives via his cameo Rogue One,
Right.
which hints at maybe
Well, we know that Hera's also there, too.
Hera.
Well, we hear her and we see the ghost
So
in Rogue.
there's that possibility, which really what it comes down to is...
If you say Vader, I'm going to slap you.
What it comes down to is Zeb, Kanan, Ezra, and Sabine.
Yeah.
I actually think that Sabine will survive this.
Okay.
She's just a very strong character. She's had a lot of development over the last season. I think she'll make it out of this unscathed. I don't know.
I wonder if she plays in a role in like that preservation of Mandalorian culture, because it's something that kind of disappears as you get through the originals.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that we know that there's a full-on war coming to Mandalore
Right.
because of Star Wars Rebels. I've always strongly felt that Kanan and Ezra, they have a very dark end. I don't know if they're going to die. I think one of them will.
Yeah.
But I think some sort of tragedy, something tragic, is in
the near future.
Is in the near future.
Probably the Battle of Scarif. David, you get one character to keep from the show. You're almost through season 2. What character?
If we're going to continue to pursue this character in another cartoon or in the books, I want it to be Kanan. Because think about how tragic of a character that is, that, he gets into the Jedi Order, and then it falls apart, and his Jedi Master dies, and then he gets his Padawan, and then he loses his vision, and then Ezra dies. I mean, just think of what a tormented, twisted character, and what you could do with that, in further media. If they're not going to follow it through, I'd want to see Ezra, because maybe he'll show up in one of the upcoming movies, and maybe he did go to the dark side, and he was Knight of Ren or something like that. But Kanan would be the one that I'd really love to see them have survive when everybody else dies, and pursue that further.
Yeah, I love both of your ideas. I really love the background that you gave there on Kanan, because Kanan is a character that is new. I mean, we didn't know about Kanan Jarrus until the Rebels series, because that's what he was created for. Definitely could be yeah.
It's really tough to really think about this, because
It is.
we've
a lot of them
finished half of this.
They need to
season.
die. I mean, coming into this, you're kind of expecting them all to die because you don't see them in the originals. But Thrawn, it really looks like he's going to get shipped out on some mission out of the way. He's going to go on about a 12-year detour, and it looks like we might get to see him back, towards the Return of the Jedi era. But yeah, you kind of just expect everyone else to die out, and the idea that either Kanan or Ezra could survive is kind of alarming to me. I'm not going to call myself a purist. I know that I'm an old school Star Wars fan, that I need to become a little bit more open mind. I'm like the curmudgeon of the community. I really need to embrace a lot of these things. But I like my Jedi, and I like the Sith. And, I'm really working hard to try and to accept the fact that there can be other Force users, a lot of other Saber wielders that aren't classified in one of those two categories. So, I'm trying to think. If I'm thinking of anyone making it out, Tarkin. I will see Tarkin in A New Hope. Okay, great. I'm glad we could figure that one out. All right, great. So that goes for the first question. First question to the Fan Comlink. Hey, second question is, we all like average calamities. And he asked us this great question, and Jesse, I want you to answer this one first. What heroes would you like to see in the DLC releases for Battlefront 2? This is a question that we got from Average Calamities a couple weeks ago, and we want to make sure that we give you that opportunity. If there is a must-have character for downloadable content, who is it?
Just one or multiple?
Just give me one.
Okay.
Just give me one.
Can I give two?
You can if you have them on your mind already.
Okay, I'd like to see Jango Fett because, yes, similar to Boba, but I think it would be a little bit different gameplay style.
Okay.
I'd love to see Captain Rex, Ahsoka.
Now you're at 3. Now you're at 4. So you
General,
lied to me.
Yeah, I'm lying to you. General Grievous supposedly got leaked, so I'm actually, if that's true, I'm excited about that.
Please. Do you throw 4 sabers around at once? How do you lose?
Count Dooku would be another one. There's tons of characters.
You know what I would love? What if there was a skin for the Clone Wars, and you could fight like that Dooku, like from season 5? Like that would be cool for me.
Yeah, obviously, Commander Cody. Again, Captain Rex would be kind of cool.
Most of the people from the Clone War era.
Yeah, you get a lot of Clone Wars.
Yeah, bring them in. I've heard some people want IG-88. That'd be kind of a fun bounty. If you could have like a bounty hunter, like almost like maze game, like you're running inside of a maze and it's all bounty hunters.
We've already got Boba. We've got Bosk. They kind of did the same thing with Battlefront 2015. We had Greedo, and then we had Bosk.
Did you know that Bosk is a leftover alien from a Doctor Who set from like 30 years ago?
That is hilarious.
I learned that the other day.
Is it really?
Yeah, Doctor Who magazine.
You learn something new every day on Beyond the Blastdoors, a Star Wars podcast. Do we even get to call ourselves a podcast anymore? Because we are a podcast, but we're also the show. Maybe we really need to have a conversation about our
We're
brand.
a podcast show.
We're a
Podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep it. All right. Cool. So the average calamities.
I didn't get to answer.
Well, you answered last week. Do you remember who you picked?
No, but I now decide I want Ezra to come
Bridger?
back. Yeah,
Okay.
Bridger.
Yeah.
That Miller. Ezra Miller's the one we don't like from.
I want to play as Ahsoka.
And they
I feel like that's
they had
coming
Jen Erso.
Just think about a lightsaber with a blaster on it. That'd be a fun gameplay mechanic.
You'll love this one. You ready for it?
Yep.
I'm doing this one for you.
Do it.
Thrawn.
Oh, I mentioned him last week. Yeah, Thrawn would be fun.
He would be fun.
Because you would have hand-to-hand combat option, and then you'd have a pistol.
Yeah.
All right, I can roll with it. All right, cool. All right, well, that's Average Calamities question. Steve, over there at Average Calamities, thank you as always. And Star Raptor, another good friend of ours show, has an awesome YouTube channel. Check it out if you haven't already. Star Raptor is all one word. You see it there on your screen. What is your favorite ship of all time in Star Wars? You get one, Jesse, and you only get one ship. Is it the Slave One? You gotta say it louder so we can hear you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. This is gonna sound. I can't think of the actual model type of. I think it's a co-op drive or something.
I was gonna say no one hears when I judge you for not knowing the actual make and model.
After that, it would be the ARC 170.
It is a pretty ship. That was yours, wasn't it?
No, mine was going to be the traditional original Star Destroyer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because it's not every day you see a 2-mile long starship. That's pretty cool.
It's going to be an Imperial ship, whatever I choose. Probably the Star Destroyer.
So now this is where I'm going to break the rules and go a little bit more in depth because I thought about this because we answered this a couple weeks ago.
It's probably got 5.
I wanted Jesse to do it. My favorite speeder is the speeder that Anakin hijacks in Attack of the Clones for the speeder chase. My favorite single person.
For the love of Christ.
My favorite single starfighter, the 2003 Micro Series. I have the speeder behind me. It's that blue starfighter. If you're watching on the show, I'm pulling this out right now because this is freaking awesome.
We each get one.
Yeah, he told me one, and I.
You had 17 players for the DLC. Shut your trap. I can't get it off.
Hostile, is it?
I can't. This ship.
Did you just say he couldn't get off?
No, stop. This ship right here. This is to me the coolest starfighter. That this was this tricked out starfighter for that 2003 Micro Series.
His droid sideways.
And what? What's wrong with this droid?
The droid is sideways.
The droid is sideways.
Well, the droid said theoretically can rotate, so I have it that way because the way it displays on the shelf. But isn't that kind of cool with the fin, the up front? It kind of looks like I don't know. It tricked out.
What are these like?
Those are turbo engines. Those are boosters. They make them go fast.
On the front of the ship.
Stop questioning my ship.
For going
Damn
in
it,
reverse?
Jesse! You're ruining the moment. The favorite ship of all time, though, has to be the Executor, because I don't think there is one person that ever saw Empire Strikes Back and didn't lose their freaking minds with... how big the Star Destroyer is.
I'll give you that one.
But then you see how big the Executor is? I'm fingers crossed. I don't think it's going to happen, but fingers crossed. If we could see the Eclipse in a new film, that would be badass. For those of you who don't know...
I gotta ask.
Go ahead.
Did you... When they recut for the first time, the special edition movies, back in the 90s...
Yeah.
Did you go and see those?
No.
Oh, because let me tell you, seeing that ship on the big screen, it was like oh my god, like it's 10 times different than seeing it on a TV.
You playing with the graphic back there?
Okay.
No, I was.
So I can officially say I've seen that moment on a theater screen and
Theater.
Theater screen.
You're from the Midwest there, son. All right, cool. So I think we had enough fun about our ships. I do want to mention, though, the Eclipse, if you don't know what that is, in the Expanded Universe, old canon, former canon, that was the flagship for the Emperor. So he had his, and it, like the front of the Star Destroyer, where instead of just going to a point, it went to a point, but then it also like kind of came down, like it drooped down, kind of.
Like a beak or something?
Yeah, kind of.
Like a hawk beak?
Like it bent down. The way I'm describing it kind of makes it sound like a Segi scrotum, but it doesn't look like that. Let's jump ahead to staying on target. And what was it? What did I tell you to remind me of?
Something about comics.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm gonna go last. David.
I am still on the hunt for Darth Vader number 3,
Okay.
and Darth Vader number 9 comes out this week. I also, I did a thing. I bought the Lego set of Krennic Shuttle.
Oh, it's so
and
nice.
I'm really stoked. So you guys need to make poor decisions with your money too, so we can all build Legos and watch Star Wars together and build Legos.
I'm really torn. I want to see what rest comes out for The Last Jedi. I'm not impressed by anything. I think I'm gonna love the new walkers on camera. I don't like the Lego set because it's virtually the same thing as I have behind me with the AT-AT. You know.
Yeah, this is a loaded part of the like. There's just so much. Like, I mean, obviously surviving the work retail life of Christmas season.
What Star Wars thing do you have your targeting systems locked on?
We forgot to mention this earlier.
Yes.
But the DLC portion for the story mode for Battlefront 2 is coming this month.
There's even more flippin' downloadable content on top of the bullshit micro.
Well, that's the thing is they promised free DLC content, and that also included content for the story, for the campaign. So I'm excited about that because I really.
Ever-growing story.
Yeah, it's an ever-growing story. Obviously, I'm looking forward to, getting through winter drops and whatnot. I bought Yoda's Lego Starfighter the other day.
No way. David, you got that one too, right?
I kind of already put it together, but
you like it though. It's
I
cute
do.
though. It's a cute little Starfighter.
Yeah. I'm still debating on Lego Slave 1. I was kind of hoping that maybe something price-wise would drop because of Black Friday deals.
Dude, you got to go for that one though, because that's gonna retire within the next year.
How long did it take you to put together Yoda's shuttle?
I'm a very fast builder, so like 30 minutes.
It took me like an hour, and I was really impressed because the box.
How did it take you a half hour to put that thing together? It's only like 231 pieces.
Box said 6 to 12 years.
That's the age requirement to be able to use. Son of a bitch. All right, cool. So are you done over there?
I'm done.
Jeez.
Sure?
I'm just gonna laugh at my bad jokes.
No. Yeah, we're full-grown men and we're buying Lego sets still. I get it. I'm really excited to
They're
share.
models, Dave.
They're Lego display masterpieces of art. That's a lengthy title. Our good friend Nathan Greno, I hit him up the other day.
You did that for us.
Yeah, he has. There's this drawing behind us that he signed to us, and we really appreciate it, and we're thankful that we have it on our set. I'm really excited to share that he got tapped, and he's done a new cover for a Star Wars Marvel comic, Star Wars Adventures. It's one of the kid lines, and coming to my doorstep in a couple of days, or I should say to the what do we call this? The R519 Studios, where we record Beyond the Blast Doors. We're gonna have a signed issue of that comic book that he's done a custom sketch for us. So Nathan is really the friend that keeps on giving, and this time I made sure that we return. We paid for his services because the guy is an incredible artist. And, go ahead.
Can we go buy a copy of his comic and have all of us sign it and send it to him from the guys at Beyond the Blast
I don't
Doors?
think that works the same.
Well, we could, but that would I think devalue the comic.
Well, maybe.
I'd actually like to note, if Nathan, you are watching, I want you to know that we took really good care of the sketch that you did.
Museum
we
glass.
framed it. We put it in museum glass. Because it meant that much to us that you took the time to do that for us.
And I like how on the back, because we noticed that there was like some extra space in there. We actually took like the cardboard packaging piece.
There was a little bit of foam core
Yeah.
packaging that actually had an additional signature. So it's
like
all
the
there.
best or something. He said.
So we'll do something.
Well
We'll do something. Maybe I don't want to get like a photo of Nathan and put that next to the copy because I feel like that would be kind of weird to just have like your face on the set. But Maybe it's not, and you can hit me up on Instagram and let me know. But no, we had that coming in the next couple of days, so that's going to be something that we add to the set. But he is someone that's supporting our show. He tells people about our show, and he's helped promote it. And so it's really exciting to see that he's gotten picked up by Marvel to do a Star Wars comic book cover. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Congrats.
You know, Nathan, he left Disney. He's made a career choice. He's left Disney. He's in the process of looking for another studio to work with. And, you know, if this is just one of the many things coming his way, not worried about this guy. I mean, it's fun to follow him on Instagram because the guy, you know, he goes back and forth with people like J. Scott Campbell. You know, that's a pretty cool dude. You know, I love how comic book artists all are like in their circle on social media. It's really cool to see them communicate.
We have a pretty awesome Instagram account. You showed that to me today.
Yeah, we do. If you don't already, this is a great time to plug the social media. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Beyond the Blast Doors. You can find us. You know, we're very thankful here. We started in April. And I'm going to brag about us for a little bit because we started this in April, and here we are closing.
Sooner than that. I think our first episode we recorded in March.
No, it was April.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was April, yeah. And here we are closing down in December. We've passed 300 subscribers on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We have 1,200 people following us there. You know, we continue to have listens on iTunes and such, but it seems like the majority of people like to catch the visual experience.
We should celebrate that. We should, like, I don't know, do a contest or something.
Do you want to do a contest?
We can do a contest.
So then how about this? Because this wasn't pre-rehearsed at all.
Give away free stuff.
We're going to give away a Porg.
Do not give away that Porg.
And we're giving away David Gilbert.
Yeah, we're going to give away David.
Everybody just turned off the episode. This is what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you that you keep watching the channel this week. I've got a couple of special videos coming out regarding Star Wars comics. I think we're going to do in-depth of Mace Windu. I've got a Darth Vader video that I want to roll out. I know that there's a couple comic book hauls. Shout out to the comic book community out there who always supports us. But we're going to have a video drop by Friday, and it's going to be, at the least, it's going to be me, and at the most, it's going to be the three of us. And we are going to announce our 300 sub-contest, Beyond the Blast Doors, 300 sub-contest. It's going to be a variety of Star Wars variant comic book covers. There's going to be figures. There could be pops. There could be a Beyond the Blast Doors shirt. We're not sure. We're just going to know that it's going to be a lot of stuff. And it's going to be free. Free shipping. All we're going to have you do is probably make a video and tell us something about yourself or the Star Wars. Rules haven't been figured out, but be on the lookout for that.
I just thought of a new alien.
What?
A blore.
Oh, because of my conundrum with my mouth just now?
Yeah.
That's great. I can't imagine what the blores look like. Anything we need to hit else, gentlemen? I think episode 22 has been a success.
No, we picked my Porg up off the ground. It's been lonely since it fell off the mountain.
I'm not bending over for that damn stuffed animal. Okay, that's going to do it for episode 22. Thank you, as always, for watching. If you haven't already, leave us a comment down below. We'll be sure to comment. And we'll see you next week on Beyond the Blast Doors.